Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Tolani is a registered dietitian and a member of the Association of Nigerian Dietitians and the Nutrition Society of Nigeria. Now, in a Food Facts and Fallacies series, we'll be talking about the introduction to this, okay? So I'm sure over the next few weeks, we'll talk about the different fads and all. But tell me, what is it when we talk about food fads?
Well, food fads actually a particular, let's talk about fads. We have fads in fashion too. Yeah. It's a particular kind of trend that comes and everybody runs after it. It reigns for a while, like a keto diet, reigns for a while, and then of course it fizzles out in time as people get to know some things about it that are not appropriate enough. And of course fallacies are erroneous beliefs that are not well founded. Sincere mistakes, people could just be sincerely mistaken about a particular subject. So when we say now food fads and fallacies, we talk about this kind of trend that comes in a particular time related to diet, and then of course they are not well founded, they are not well grounded in science, they are not scientifically proven, they are not adequate, they are not through. So that is what we mean by food fads and fallacies.
So how can we identify food fads?
Well, number one, I'll give three basic characteristics of food fads. Number one, you'd notice that they call for unusual food choices.
Unusual food choices.
And they are highly restrictive. Highly restrictive.
Highly restrictive, unusual food choices. That's how you identify them.
Yes, and this restrictive diet, this unusual food choices usually result in future or present health complications.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So when we talk about fad diets, we're also talking about the possibility of you suffering the consequences of the diet in future.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So another way you can easily detect a fad diet is that they usually promise you quick results. Quick results with little effort. They would say this milkshake, it will make you slim down. You can still eat all your pizza, eat all the fats and everything you want to take.
Please, I don't want to fall off this table you're shaking, please. Everybody wants the easy way out after all. Everybody wants the easy way out. So when we talk about food fads and all, how do they come about anyway? Is it that someone just imagines that, oh, this will probably work? Say, for example, we have one that is very popular. When you're looking for twins, eat plenty of yam.
Are you kidding me?
How practical is that?
I'm just hearing that for the first time.
Are you serious?
It's plenty of yam if you want
plenty of yam if you want twins or triplets.
Okay, that's the thing now. When we talk about origin, I'll tell you that food fads dates back to the 16th century.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Are you sure?
You have some maybe Judaism, the Elamites and all of that. They have some religious beliefs. Remember, some people would say Daniel said he's not going to eat meat, just beans, a lot of beans, and then he was better than some other people. I usually tell people, let's come to things now. If you tell me I eat less meat, I take a lot of beans, and that makes me intelligent. I think the Adventist children should be like the most brilliant in the nation right now. Because they take less meat. You have a lot of vegetarians among them. I'm sorry to just mention that. Okay. So that is, I think that one must have something deeper, another deeper meaning than, avoiding this particular food.
Now,
so 16th century, we've been having some, bits of it, the Elamites, the Jews, and all of that. And then in the 19th century, especially 1930, it became widespread. And it was through a man, his name is Sylvester Graham, the one who began the Graham's crackers. It was at that time that the first milkshake or food or drink, particular diet drink, was made. That was the first time. And then from then, of course, he propagated the idea that you should eat less of animal products, you should take more of vegetables, more of fibers, that animal products were sinful and it wasn't so good. And then we have another one, the Zen
But you see, so some of these things actually work for people who use them. Yet you're telling me that the fact that it worked for you now doesn't mean that you wouldn't suffer the consequences later. Say, for example, you mentioned the keto diet. I decide to go on the keto diet, and within 3 months, I'm like, hey, you know, looking up fab and hard and all. And you're telling me that in like 3, 6 months, or even a year or a few years after, I'll be suffering the consequences medically?
You might. You might.
Might, okay.
Yes, you might. Another thing about fat diet I didn't mention earlier is that they are not founded, some of them are not founded on correct scientific research or finding. They don't have sound science behind them. Now, you can say, now, let me say this, the end justifies the means. Yeah. I want to get there.
Yes, and I got it.
Either if I push people, if I dupe people, let me get there. Okay, in the end, yes, I've gotten there, but how did I get there? Now, the thing is this, you can take a lot of fats. Take everything, take ice cream, reduce your carbs, be having slight headaches, because that food pattern of keto, for instance, is for the autistic, the epileptic, you know, people that have this Angelman syndrome and the likes of them. They are not for people that don't have those kind of health complications.
So sometimes it's good to check the source, the origin.
Exactly. So what if you now end up clogging your arteries with a lot of fatty deposits? And then in the future, 10 years' time, they realize your cholesterol is very high.
Oh, wow.
You slimmed down, yes, in 2 months, but then you built up something that you will be battling with the next few years.
Well, that's a tough one. Well, I know this is a conversation that will still go on for the next few weeks. Yeah. I'm particularly interested in the fruits fads. I'm very interested in that one. But of course, I must thank you, Tolani Fashion, for being on the show today. Thank you so much. And then, of course, we're going to be heading over to Titi, where she'll be introducing the first